Welcome back to the Good Talk, where we recap the game that we just played and answer all your burning questions, Warhammer and otherwise. We just had an amazingly wild game between my friend Shane and I, who just came on the stream. If you haven't seen that game already, spoilers ahead, turn back now. With that having been said,
it's a very emotional game.
It was a very emotional game.
Yep.
It was weird, right? It was a lot of trading early on, and then it kind of just turned halfway through.
It's a very humbling experience to really just remind you about Warhammer. It's like, it doesn't matter what list you bring. It's just, sometimes it comes down to the dice rolls, and you can't be upset. It's just chance.
Yeah, you had some spectacularly bad dice rolls, and I don't always say this.
You had some spectacularly good dice rolls.
I had.
Which no one ever says that.
The crazy thing is I had good dice rolls the whole way through. Yeah, that's true. I'm known for my perils, but not today. You failed all the saves. All 5-up saves against your Eradicators, against the Manticore for the flat 3 payload that killed all of them. Right,
all but one. Then he failed the leadership.
Oh my gosh, that was just amazing.
Failing 2 leaderships in a row definitely hurt.
Yeah, that was
on
really
a back
rough.
foot.
That's right, it was double six, or 6 and a 6. So that was difficult. And the thing that kind of led up to this point was, like I said, we had these first couple turns of trading, which happens a lot in games of Warhammer right now. You know, we're both playing Domination, you're playing Oaths, where we like push up a thing, it dies, you push up a thing. You still held it, I didn't take you off of the Oath, but I was able to push up and at least take it from me so that I could get, or from you so I could get Domination. And then it was the turn afterwards when you had a few assets that were kind of exposed.
Yeah.
Would you do anything different, or I have thoughts on which one to discuss that a bit.
I definitely think that there were a few units that I kind of gave up just because they didn't need to. Was like my second unit of Veteran Vanguard, which are, as you saw, they're Sledgehammer, especially into an infantry heavy list. They can cut through it. But one unit was pretty much exposed. It was just giving free shooting for Adrian. I had the mobility. I had the flying that I could just move that.
I think that's a good point. That's definitely one of the ones that I was thinking of where we saw what happens once they get behind terrain. I couldn't kill them. And if I even wanted to try to kill them, it's like, cool, you want to put your Manticore into those instead of the Inceptors? Like, good luck. That's a good trade for you. But when they're in the open, I have to just take all my shots, get them down. So maybe like transitioning, instead of, you kept kind of going along your flank, going forwards to play that obscuring in the middle of the field?
I think I could have done that. Because in the end, you only had 2 units that can shoot out of line of sight, and that I can counteract the Manticore. Well, theoretically, I can counteract the Manticore with Transhuman. It doesn't really pay out well for me, but so I could always have that. But against Adrian's list, I should have just overwhelmed him with targets. And I think that kind of what you talked about a little bit. It's like, I think I should have been more aggressive, which is actually tends to be my style. I actually played not usually like mine. Is that usually I just deploy on the line and charge right down your throat.
Always be charging.
Yep. So definitely there was that, and just. They were just, especially against a guard. Guard can swing really hard either way. Is that Adrian just like hammered into my units, and units where I should have had 1 or 2 guys. Which with Space Marines you can have like 2 guys left in a squad, and it's still a threatening unit. Yeah. But Adrian really got into them.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's funny, like the Manticore was kind of underwhelming, but everyone else was just doing great rolls.
Yeah. Battle cannons are always fantastic.
Oh my gosh, they were great.
You can always count as commanders. There's just some things that also just take a lot of practice. Is if you're playing a really hero-heavy list, you need to understand is what's going to happen when your opponent removes units that open up your heroes to get shot. Because plinking 4 wounds off a Space Marine is not actually that difficult.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw that happen in particular in one moment where it was like you had the 3 intercessors and then big old bunch of characters right behind. So it was like, cool, knock out that 1 intercessor, you can get in there. But I think this is a good point that you bring up as far as like. You have a play style that you play, which is very aggressive, and this was a game where you've actually we talked about the fact that we play a lot of games, a lot of games, and you've been trying to not be so aggressive, and this was a game where you needed to be more aggressive. And this is something that happens to all of us, right? I'm a very defensive player, and I'm still learning when are the games when I need to be more aggressive than I want to be. We all have our like instincts and play styles, and it's a tough thing to kind of learn when to get away from that and kind of like disengage yourself. So it's an interesting problem that I think almost everyone has, right?
Yep. Deployment, I think, is like the hardest part of the game. And I think what really threw me this game was we actually had a really huge deployment zone for these missions that you had all this extra space, and so you're able to screen out really well, which also gave you a really large no man's zone that I had to cross. So that was really terrifying. That I have a quick army. I give buffs to advancing. I give buffs to charging.
Right.
But combined with the endless bodies, and I think that's kind of like the meta we're kind of going to start seeing is
absolutely
like we have these armies that have these extra chaff and things that can hit back, but can move really far quickly. So these really aggressive elite armies, I think, are going to really struggle in this.
I totally agree. And you recognize this almost immediately, right? You put your Inceptors on the board. You didn't keep them off, because if they were off, they would have shot like
There was
nothing.
no one. I would have been trading Interceptors, which they killed a tank, but I would have been killing guard squads a turn, which is just a waste of points.
Right, exactly.
You always want to try to get at least make your point value back.
Yeah, and you had a really good play with the Eradicators, because I was trying to screen them out,
Yeah.
and you dropped them down 9 away, and then took the 3d6 charge on a non-combat unit, which was a great play. 'cause
I was
it got
so
you-
excited. I
It
had
was
my
so
little
good.
base, the veteran vanguards with the Eradicators. That could have done some work, and then I failed all their saves. It was like, what, 4-up saves that they had to make, and they failed
Yeah.
all of them.
It was so bad.
And then the last guy died to leadership,
A
which is just,
couple key rolls. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
and so it's like, I just was Icarus, too close to the sun, and then it just all fell.
It was so beautiful. I was like, oh god, I'm in trouble.
Made that long 9-inch charge. It was,
Oh man.
Yeah.
But it was a really good play on your part, I thought. Another key moment was I loved the Plasma Scions. This was my first game actually playing the Plasma Scions.
when you told me about them, I was terrified because they just trade up really well. And if you get that Tempestor Scion, which is 45 points,
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
pretty cheap, they give them rerolls, then you don't really have to worry about the overheat. Everyone always
Right.
worries about that. But God, that unit will just wipe through Marines. And
Right.
Marines, the easiest way that if you're fighting Marines is you just go after their scoring. So then their big, like, dangerous units have to become their objective units.
Yeah, it's a funny thing because they get to trade at the perfect spot, right?
Yep.
Because so I have the Tempesta Scions unit, a unit of 4 plasma, and the plasma pistol is 85 points. Your assault intercessors are 100,
95 points, yeah.
95, right? So they're trading up only by the 10 points, like by points. But the fact that I can wait and see, okay, Shane only has 1 unit of intercessors there. I'm going to trade up in that one important spot, and that's like that deep strike is so valuable.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by them.
Yeah.
So very cool. Here's a question we like to always discuss: is did you have an MVP? Was there something that did work in the game that you were really pleased about?
This is a really rough kind of for this game because I didn't really get to do what like I needed to.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I don't really think my army really played up to like what it can. I know this list.
Yeah.
I know it can do fantastical things.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really a key moment that I was just like, oh man, I'm like really glad I pulled this off.
I feel you.
But every unit I bring they're all-stars. I trust them. I know that they go the distance. They are worth their like salt.
Right.
Like
I really like the Vanguard vets. I gotta say.
Vanguard vets
You gotta
with-
be scared of this game.
It's upsetting because it's just like veteran vanguards are so fantastic.
Yeah.
And they only come with like the set only comes with 4
Right.
storm shields and 4 lightning claws. But it's a fun unit. They are super efficient. You can throw them against anything. They can charge into a tank. They'll cut it, and then God, if they get to that turn 3, which I didn't really get to do here, but it's like they'll cut through a knight. They'll cut through
100%.
like heroes.
-3 damage, rerolling to wound. -3 AP, rerolling to wound, 2 flat damage.
Yeah.
Kills anything in the game. Anything.
I like to be rude and use the stratagem to give them a mastercrafted lightning claw and hide it in there.
It's a 3 damage one?
It's 2 damage in the beginning, and then when it gets to 3 damage, rerolling to wound, which
That's
is
saucy.
like Custodes wish they had that weapon. It's
Trajan wishes he has that
the
weapon.
weapon. It's so upsetting about
Are
like
lightning
how
claws overpowered at 2 damage?
At 2 damage, because what you do is you say, okay, this is a weapon that's meant to have lots of tiny attacks, right?
Yep.
And here's the White Scar's ability that gives +1 damage. And so you kind of maximize, like, cool, +1 damage per attack. Well, what weapon has the most amount of attacks that is like cheap because it's usually like there's a weakness to it, and you just maximize those two.
Getting
real
up to
good.
that 2 damage just makes you a threat to everything, and rerolling to wound means
That's the other big thing.
Wound on 5s.
you're wounding on 5s against everything. They combine super well with the elements in the list. It's like you got con nearby them. All of a sudden now they are they can run up beside the which he kind of disappointed me was my chaplain. He runs up there. They're re-rolling, and it's like he's usually an all-star unit. Like he's cut through Bane blades like
Right.
with ease, but
But that's the thing is you need to have a Bane blade. I think in this era of MSU and screens, just like you're saying, it's tougher to get the value out of them. Like
yeah,
like that.
I think the wins are coming because it's like at the start of 8th, we kind of saw like this kind of reliance on like Space Marines, assault armies, but I think we're moving more towards like with the Drukhari's, like a lot of shooting and then like getting out your transports, then charging. It's like going to be this weird shooting counterpunch meta. And with with the AdMech coming, it's like they are the kings of that.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited for them.
Oh, I have my AdMech army ready to go as well.
Right. Yeah.
Adrian, are Guard good?
I think Guard
You've been loving Guard.
I have been loving
for a
Guard.
while.
I think they have a lot of really interesting potential. Like I said, Luke has good bones. They have cheap units that move really fast. They have really hard-hitting units where it matters. Honestly, like, I think they have a lot of really great tools. I would be curious to play them in different matchups.
Who don't you want to play Guard against?
Ooh, that's a good question. Good question. I think the White Scars can be tough, honestly. If certain things go wrong, if they start tagging you, that's what we're talking about playing aggressively. That can be tough. I think they would have an interesting game against Drukhari, but still scary ultimately.
Eldar still hurt them a lot. Eldar kind of still have all the tools
Actually, yeah. Eldar probably scares me the most because they'll be like, cool, Shining Spears, like double move, get in there, touch everything, or kill a tank, touch everything.
Or they can outshoot them. A lot of mass -1.
Yeah, yeah. So probably Eldar and AdMech are probably the two top ones because they ignore a lot of the best things about you.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Guard fall apart really quick if you add just that one -1 to hit.
Tau can do this as well.
Yeah, Tau can absolutely do it.
Tau
Yeah.
still exists?
That's the answer you want me to say.
Well, actually, I mean, and Eldar, right?
And Eldar. It's
Eldar.
funny. We're seeing these sort of counter meta builds right now, right?
I think it's changing because we had a lot of focus on these super elite heavy, really durable, of like the Deathwing and the Death Guard. It's like they're scary, but now we're just getting like a lot of armies that do a lot of chip damage, and the chip damage goes far away.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like move around, play the mission.
Yep.
You know, it's funny. I got to give my MVP to the Plasma Scions, man. They were so good. They won me the game for sure. You think about what like 2 critical moves that happened: coming in on the side, killing your intercessors off the point, and then coming in on the other corner and killing the other intercessors off the point. That was the game right there, because like we said, it was very close.
They were really scary, and there's little things I really recommend. I love game aids. I didn't bring them on for this because I have like 1,000 different game aids.
Yeah, totally.
But having like the 9-inch meter stick to measure out your deployment, I could have completely zoned out his Scions with one intercessor squad if I really thought about it. But you saw Adrian touched every of those little corners, got 5-mans with those small bases.
The small bases are nice. Yeah.
The small bases just, it's the little things that you don't think like that, but it goes a long way. And then it lost me the game because once I lost the priority and domination,
too far
and
behind.
it's like he just racked up points.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very easy thing to miss, and I've missed it 1,000 times. You guys see it on stream. It's a tough thing to learn.
I think this was really cool because it's like, it reminds you, it's like, White Scars is definitely one of the top kind of meta lists. Sure. I didn't bring like weird units. I brought like all the scary ones.
I would take this list to a tournament.
Right.
Happily.
And so if you're ever like worried that you're like, oh, my codex may not be good enough, it's like, there are enough good things and stuff that you can just have to believe in the dice, and then you can really actually make a comeback.
Yeah, and play to what you know is out there. Like, you know Space Marines are out there, you know Drukhari's out there.
Yeah.
You can play, not that I was like, oh, I'm going to tailor against Shane, but like, same kind of idea. You can take these more obscure codexes, Craft World, Guard. I'll say Tau, because, you know.
I don't think there's anything really out there that's like unplayable.
GSC?
What? GSC? Oh.
Every time I play a game with the GSC, I'm like, cool, I'm like doing stuff. Oh, I lost. Okay, cool. But there are, I won't, not to like sidetrack too much, but there are books similar to Guard where I think they have amazing bones, and I think if they just need a bit of an update, takes them to the next level.
There's a lot, yeah.
You know,
I think they like, they're kind of got the Thunderwolf treatment. Was like 7th edition Thunderwolf Cavalry were like insane, like unkillable monsters.
Right.
And then I feel like GW knee-jerked was like, we can't have these big, so they just like toned them down to like just a bare minimum unit that's like, they're almost unplayable.
Yeah.
Well, and I think GSC were like doing really well. They were a fun unit. Like people were winning tournaments, and so they're like, 9th edition, we're gonna hike up their points and not really think about how they look comparatively. And structurally, how they changed, like how battalions work, really hurt them.
I think they got hit by the perfect storm, because you think about, we had Psychic Awakening.
The Torgarian Storm?
The Torgarian Storm, yeah. we had Psychic Awakening last spring, and because of book publishing and things like this, like that these books have to be written before, and the game's constantly changing. So like you definitely look at the Psychic Awakening as a response to the way the GSC list that we were seeing winning everything, and they were like, cool, let's help these other units that are not aberrants, that are not, they didn't actually hurt saws at all really, but all these kinds of things. And by the time the book arrives, you're like, I see what you're responding to, but that's not a thing anymore. Then 9th edition comes around, we're still functioning with that old Psychic Awakening and increased points, and so it's like this perfect unfortunate storm for them,
but
as they are currently.
I want to steer you away from the ledge if you have spent your life savings, cashed in all your Bitcoin to buy a GSC army, is that GSC foundationally about the army design has all the parts to play the 9th editions really well.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that you just got to be patient when the 9th edition codex comes out, not knowing anything, but it's they have all the foundational things that would make them really good in 9th edition. Absolutely. They just need someone to give them some TLC.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's, speaking of TLC, let's give our mics a little TLC.
Sure.
Chat says we're getting a little static.
A little staticky, okay.
Making sure.
Yeah, where's your receiver, Shane? Go ahead and you can bring it out. Just make sure you don't want this to rub on anything. I don't know what's going on behind you, but but yeah, let us know.
Make
chat.
love, not war.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let us know if that's any better, guys.
Cool.
One last question from me for you guys.
Sure.
Talking about this, are we thinking maybe 8th ed into 9th ed intentional design? Good. We always are saying they're actually making fun of us. Good bones in a lot of these codexes.
Yeah.
Are there any codexes that are so wrong for 9th that they need so much work? And fly keyword aside, right? Tau and Eldar.
Sure. It's not fair. My answer is totally Tau. Well, Tau and
Can
Eldar.
we talk about books that have come out for 9th edition? Or is it specifically about
old
old
bones? 9th
bones?
edition books with bad bones?
I think the Blood Angels book is not great for 9th edition.
All right.
I was actually a hardcore Blood Angels player for most of my time. It was one of my first armies, my first tournament army. And the 8th edition codex was beautiful. It was perfect for the game. But they really focused in on just going really killy versus White Scars allows you to play flexible. And this game is not about just destroying your opponent so they can't counterfight. It's about playing missions and not being able to, losing all the mobility. I feel like they have some pretty brittle bones.
I think that's a good point, and it definitely was on the back of hyper aggression, killing everything, and Sanguinary Guard. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so it's funny. You remember we made a video. It's called "Are Blood Angels the Best Army in Warhammer?" And
it's not anymore.
It's not, and I don't think it's not necessarily oh, we were just totally wrong. It's Dark Angels came out, Death Guard came out, and they were hey, guess what? You can't just kill your way to a victory. What do you do now? Blood Angels are guess we're just playing regular. Have you seen good Blood Angels lists lately? They're Marine armies with
a lot of intercessors
with some combat, Yeah. And I think that's a good point. It is pretty telling.
Yeah.
But what about 8th edition books? It's not the fly keyword. It's not the fly keyword, but I think Eldar and Tau, pretty bad bones.
Yeah.
I think they need full redesign. Eldar is all about their psychic's all about buffing up one unit, which plays really badly in 9th edition. Yeah. They can't play 9th at all. And I think Tau are in a similar vein, kind of to the Blood Angels, where they're just we have dominating firepower, and everyone else is cool, we'll run on the point and die, and do that over and over again, and you still lose. So I think those are bad bones and need full redesign. So there you go.
Psychic Awakening helped Tau a little bit, but it did not really help Craft World.
No, they had one of the worst. Yeah. And that was the joke about it at the time, right? It was guess what? Your Crimson Hunter Exarchs got even better, and everything else didn't.
Dark Eldar were had it really bad, and then they got this new codex, which is fantastic. So I think there is hope for them. But yeah, I do agree. It's right now, it's just Eldar. I just think it's if you want to play Eldar, good on you for trying to make a good bad situation.
Tough. It's tough. It is. So that's a couple that I think are in the wrong direction. Just to show that it's not just everything's good.
You know the one
lovely.
that we think we completely forgot is just horrible bones needs also really to be it's so forgetful that it even exists is Chaos Space Marines. They are just
that's true.
I'm I don't even know where you go with them.
Well, starting with 2 wounds is going to be
2 wounds is going to be hard, but it's where they are now in the book. It's just they know they can make a good Space Marine book with a lot of flavor. The supplements make it fun. Like you actually feel like you're playing different armies, and Chaos deserve that kind of love.
Yeah.
And if they don't do that, then it's going to be really upsetting.
Yeah, and they have a number of problems, right? Like they hardly even played 7th edition, if we're honest. You know, they had their moments where it was like, cool, we have like crazy combos from Vigilus, Possess Bombs.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm playing a gimmick when I play.
When you
always gimmicks.
Chaos is
Yeah.
you have to use the word technically, or it's like when you have to check multiple FAQs, or like
Yeah.
I love when people still try to use like the index. You're
Yeah,
like, come on,
yeah.
it's
Oh my gosh, that's right. I can
Technically
technically warp
correct.
time with this Nurgle sorcerer from this book. I think that's another great example.
I just
totally.
want them to be careful. I love that the idea of Chaos integrates all these different war bands and demons all together.
Yeah.
And so I love seeing that interplay between them.
Yeah,
I just don't want them to lose that kind of love.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. That's definitely one of my fears.
Yeah, because the last edition was all about mixing
Yeah.
and stuff, and then they, for some reason, didn't like that with this edition. I don't want them to lose that because I feel like it was a very unique way that I like no two Chaos armies should ever be alike. It's Chaos. It's supposed to be chaotic and crazy all over the place.
Yeah, I think there are still a good amount of people playing Death Guard Plus, right? Death Guard and
Yeah.
other stuff, which is a good example because Death Guard are totally a standalone Chaos Codex, which again, we hadn't really seen for a long, long time. And I was like, yeah, you can play just one Chaos Codex. That sounds crazy, but you can. And people also do splash in other stuff because it's fun. They want to do mixed Chaos.
I'm like, not for me because I would never play Chaos Tainted Army. I loved Khorne Demonkin. That
Yes,
was
bring it back.
one of the most fun and interesting 7th edition books that was great, and they had a great gimmick. It felt very unique, and then they're kind of like, we forgot.
It's very strange. They stopped following it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shall we take some questions from other people now?
We do. We've got a lot of questions. And before we get into any highs, you asked earlier about Oathway, Craft World Oathway, and we answered it during the stream. That was my fault. I think the big takeaway from your question was Banshees are bad.
Banshees
Banshees are bad.
Stay with Banshees. And as far as we know, the Oathway Warlord trait, the CP regen, still works.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy though about 9th is that crazy things work. So maybe take 30 Banshees. You know, I'm telling you, just go out and buy all the Banshees.
Take 30 Banshees.
There's people selling them for cheap because nobody wants them.
That's true.
They might be the new surprising thing. I went into this game thinking I was going to destroy Guard. They're old, outdated,
Right.
and stuff. But weird things happen. So maybe Banshees actually are the secret OP nobody's expecting.
Well, I will say this: you can always follow the other rule, which is that which is bad will become broken. So
like, I'm not going to waste my bullets on Banshees. They're useless.
yeah, but yeah, the Banshees are the only thing that's not great. The other units are all very playable. You picked out some of the best units in the Codex. They're tough, they're durable, play the game. So definitely enjoy. And hopefully you'll see this question answered either there or here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dennis. Greetings from Mother Russia. What is your take on playing cool versus playing competitively? I have an idea for an army that will probably be trashed on the table. How to balance good story versus passable playability.
That's such a good question.
It is a good
That's
question.
fantastic. One of the beautiful things about this current edition is if you look at a lot of these armies that are coming out, they play very lore-based. You don't
Yeah.
look at them and be like, that guy's like, White Scars, you're running a bunch of Outriders, you're running close combat units, like that are fast and mobile. It's like, it plays to the theme of the army and it's cool. And there aren't like a whole lot of units. Like the Drukhari, the Real Space Raiders, you're using all of the kind of aspects of the
Right.
Drukhari book that it feels fluffy.
Yeah, it's really hard to make an unfluffy list in 9th
Yeah.
edition. And I think one of the other things to consider is like, what do you want to get out of this, right? Do you want to play in a tournament? Do you want to play against your friends? That's kind of one of the big decisions first. And then it's also this balance of like, are you going to be upset when you do get trashed or when you lose? And that might sound like a sassy answer, but it's a real question. I think we see people even go to tournaments, they take totally silly lists, they all like get their butts kicked, but they have a great time.
Yeah.
And then they see some other people that take like a weird wonky list and they're like offended that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's a less healthy
I
way
always
to play.
bring up as like one of the top player, like hallowed be his name, Sean Naden, will bring like the weirdest uncompetitive models you think, but he has such an
Makes it work.
understanding of the game that it makes it work. Like
Yeah.
he was running witches before the like
I know.
Codex came out. Everyone's like, what are you doing? And
He's still
just-
running Yanari, even though Dark Eldar exists.
yeah. And so it's like there's not a whole lot of like this is unplayable. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I totally agree. So that context for yourself is very important, figuring
Yeah.
that out. And,
Yeah.
and I think kind of to the other point that Shane was saying earlier is I think some armies are going to be more efficient than others, so you can have more leeway, right? Like, I'll be honest, I have inefficient things in my Drukhari army because I can, right?
Yeah.
And Space Marines, you can get away with it a bit. Some of these other codexes, when we're talking about, that are underpowered. There's lots of Eldar units and GSC units that I hardly even play on stream because they're so tough to make fun, right? And so for me, that's been my personal threshold. It's like, am I going to have fun putting this model on the table and playing, or is it just going to be frustrating? And it's a legitimate threshold. I like playing bad stuff
is good.
as long as I have fun with it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Even building a list and saying, I want to take Banshees.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Banshees. I'm gonna put them on Wave Serpent.
38 Banshees is fantastic.
That's it. Everything
Top
else,
tier.
Everything else is gonna be good.
Exactly.
Around that, like picking those
Exactly.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good strategy. Thank you, Tyler. Critique my Ultramarines. Not as good at some of these abbreviations. Primaris Lieutenant with Storm Shield Power Sword. Primaris Chappie. ROW Vox
Rex
Espiritum. Uriel Ventress. 2 Infiltrators. 2 Intercessors. BG Ancient with SOO.
Shield of the, no, SO. Standard of,
Is it the relic stand maybe?
maybe.
3 Blade Guard, 3 Outriders, Eliminators, Eradicators, Repulsor, Guilliman.
Sweet. So the only thing I would say, I think it's a good list. The only thing I would say is you have a lot of min squads, right? Squads of 3, which to me, you either want 2 things. You want multiple of the same type that are small, like 3 Blade Guard, 3 Blade Guard, 3 Blade Guard that can work, or you want like 1 bigger squads of 5 usually. So that'd be my only recommendation, is maybe if you have the models for it, I would like drop the Eliminators to add 1 or 2 models to some of these other squads, just beef them up so they're like a bit more substantial.
Is Uriel, and I had forgot he completely got, I like blocked him out of my memory because he had that weird face.
Yeah.
Does he do anything interesting, or is he just like a captain?
So he does one interesting thing. He does 2 interesting things. One of them only works in Crusade, and it's really powerful. And the other one, I forget.
It's good.
Got him right there on the shelf.
Yeah, and he'll stay forever.
No, we actually have another one on the way coming. So.
Okay.
Seal of Oath.
Oh, Seal of
Oath is
nice.
like one of the few texts that's like incredible, that stays back.
So powerful.
A lot of things with these Ultramarines, I feel like you don't really need to go with the elite units. They just get so much value out of intercessors. I think plain Jane intercessors that you really want to spread out, and just with Guilliman, they will actually put hurt into things, and especially with their like chapter tactics. So I always think a lot of intercessors is actually like the way to go.
They're
but
great. Yeah.
but Marines, it's really hard to go wrong.
It's like, even like, you know, I know the Blade Guards are mega elite, but like 1 Blade Guard let you play Space Marine style, and 2, for 1 command point, fall back, shoot and charge.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I don't even really like the Blade Guard in there because like you have Guilliman for that buster kind of thing.
Nah, he's not you don't want him tanking though for you.
He's not tanking, but like,
Who's tanking? Everything else melts.
you think the Blade Guard can tank? Mine didn't.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want transhuman on them, right? So you need to be able to play a game where you can't bait it out. I had to bait it out of you this game, right?
I would go up to 5 Blade Guard if you're going. It's like you have to go in.
If you are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Space Marines can be really, or Ultramarines can be very like an aggressive close combat army.
I'm a big fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dennis, who asked about the balance of competitive and fun, running a list by us here.
Sure.
Alpha Legion Vanguard, Super Heavy Ironclad Knights, Terminator Sorcerer, Sorcerator.
Sorcerator.
That's
Arnold
gonna be a unit.
Schwarzenegger.
That's my new WoW character.
Yeah.
Terminator Sorcerer, Terminator Lord, 10 Chaos Space Marines, 10 Terminators, 2 groups of 10 Berserkers, 5 Havocs, Knight Despoiler, 2 War Dogs.
Oh, this isn't a bad list, honestly. This list can play.
Terminators are great in Chaos.
So good. Like,
I like that Chaos Bomb. The only thing that is, which you can, because I love playing Knights, so it's like they're actually fantastic at scoring because you plant a Knight on an objective, and it's like it's hard to take them off of it.
Especially because they're going to be characters too, so you can just heroically intervene if someone the things I was doing here to snipe an objective from you, you can't do with Knights because they'll be like, cool, guard, boop, boop, boop. All right, intervene, kill them all. I think it's cool.
I think it's got some teeth. I do worry though, like on objective games where they're going to have like 6 objectives that are like hold 2 objectives just for them. That's where you're going to hurt. Is
right. Well, this sounds like a 1K list, right? It's not that many points.
It's got a knight detachment. It's not 1K.
There's a knight, yeah. Knight despoiler.
It's got a despoiler, which is that the shooty one or is that the punchy one?
It's the shooting one. Well,
Yeah.
it's either with Chaos Knights. Despoiler is just like the generic chassis essentially.
Okay.
It's not.
I'm guessing it's
based.
double auto or double Reaper cannons.
Yeah, I think
machine
they'd all
gun
be good.
hands.
It doesn't seem like 2,000 points. It does seem a little small.
He has a lot of pricey things in there. He has 2 units of 10 Chaos Marines.
2 units of 10 berserkers, 1.
oh, I
Yeah,
forgot
like
about
you're
them.
starting to
I forgot
rise
about
points.
them.
It's a very elite
Yeah, never mind. I like it.
versus. I like it. I think
The Berserkers are. I love Berserkers for Chaos Marines. I think they're one of the better units.
it's just.
But you're
Yeah,
off
you
legion.
can't. My only thing is that it's hard to keep up with a 3-up armor save as your only defense with 1 wound.
-1 be hit.
-1. It's still, but you'll be chipped.
The real answer
Yeah.
is I think a Rhino. I always play my Berserkers in Rhinos, and that
Yeah.
lets you get up, get them out. They're safe until
You can
they need to be.
outflank them or deep strike them.
You can pregame move them as Alpha Legion.
Okay.
So everyone can outflank now, but that's game to game.
I think
so.
as a chaos list, that is you're bringing some teeth with you. Like I wouldn't look at that
play it.
list and be like, oh man, I can handle this.
Yeah, I'd play it.
Yeah.
They're actually interesting as Alpha Legion, huh?
Oh,
Berserkers, yeah.
I
I
think
don't.
they're cool.
Alpha
Yeah.
Legion's one of the few legions that like you can I think
They
kind of play.
Yeah.
Still working, yeah. Thank you, Colonel Panic. Oops, all Canoptech. Objective secured. Ancients, Stir Dynasty. Outrider Detachment. 2 Technomancers. Void Dragon. 4 times 9 Scarabs. 2 times 6 Wraiths. 1 times 2 Spiders. 2 Doomstalkers. The
So
Scarabs, you can only have 3.
yeah, the first thing to address is the elephant in the room, which is you can only have 3 of a type of unit if you're playing standard, unless it's troops. Scarabs are not. But
You can still have 3 times 9. This is just giving me flashbacks from like one of the most
That's
horrifying games.
Still a lot of Scarabs.
That,
a
and
lot
then you
of
can
scarabs.
generate them back. Where Adrian, when 9th first draw,
yeah.
we had a very tenuous game. I was playing my White Scars, and
Yeah.
he was running a list almost like very similar to this, of just like if you're running 27 Scarabs, it's like you're cancer.
I love it.
You're just like your grandma's upset at you. She's disappointed.
It's beautiful.
Because it's a really mean tactic, but it's fantastic, especially at the OBSEC. The Doomstalker is that what it is? The Doomstalkers, the shooty walking dudes.
Doomstalker.
That's what it says?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He's got 2
that is them.
Doomstalkers.
Yeah.
Did they ever clarify? Because I'm still upset about that game that we played maybe like 6 months ago.
It doesn't need clarification.
About like they all Overwatch for each other.
Yeah, obviously. And it's not, and they don't have to pay for it. It's not limited.
They don't have to pay for it. Yeah,
It's not a strat.
Okay, I don't feel like that's fair. I don't feel that's right.
This was again White Scars. I had my 3 Doomstalkers in the back. It was a very similar list to this, and you had like just characters left to go in, and then so he's like Chappie on bike goes in, and I was like Doomstalker Overwatch. Oh, I didn't get him. Next one also Overwatches for him.
Yeah,
and,
that
like,
they all
zerks
Overwatch
him.
for each other, but the fact that you don't have to pay for the stratagem to allow them to Overwatch.
That would entirely defeat the purpose.
Good.
It's already like a questionable unit, I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I think it's interesting in these types of lists because you have them follow up, you have your Scarabs here, you're covering for all the Scarabs in front. So one thing I would do to this is I think you're teching too much into the Technomancers to res your Scarabs.
Yeah.
You can't res things that just die. And so I would make them, at least one of them, a Chronomancer to give the 5+ invuln to Scarabs.
How much warriors is he bringing?
None,
Like
according
none.
to this list.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something I'd try to.
It's an Outrider detachment.
It's definitely like a stylistic pick. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a cool list.
I respect that. That's the only change I would
It's
do.
a
though.
lot of
Oh, because
Scarabs.
you can play the objectives really well, and Scarabs are just tough to get through. There's not really the
Yeah.
right weapon to throw.
Remember,
at
they
them.
are OBSEC. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's nice, but just warrior blocks can have teeth, and
They're just, yeah.
and they're just the worst when you bring
too
back
good.
19 after killing 20.
I'm working on my Golden Tide list right now.
Yeah, I don't
we should
like
play
it.
against it soon. It's gonna
Yeah,
have 80
I
warriors.
know I'm gonna be the test pig
You will.
against
We
it.
should play it soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Omnissiah Sphinx.
Hey, what's up, man?
Can you play the Blood Raven? Can you play Blood Ravens as the Dark Angel, or what chapter would they fit in on the table? How would you
good
play Blood
question.
Ravens?
I'd play probably like 1,000 Suns Army.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Um,
Ultramarines, probably.
Ultramarines is kind of like the most. They're
pretty well
really
balanced.
tactical.
Yep, they're all about lore and tactics, and things like your oaths, your seal of oath, could be like a cool relic that they have, right?
Yeah.
I just feel like Ultramarines,
Or
Ultramarines.
salamanders. I would like
not
stay
bad.
away from like the fire aspect, but like having the better gear because they're like been pilfering from other people, so like they're all kind of like got the mastercrafted.
Yeah.
They're
That's cool.
a pretty noble chapter, so it's like the things about like protecting others. I could see them as being durable.
That's a good point too.
Also, it's like the model that would represent Gabriel Seth is like your T6 like captain with a thunder hammer that does.
That's true.
With a Drake hammer that does what, like 9 damage in one hit.
Yeah. Although the new Gabriel Seth rules, not bad
We
actually.
got to still turn this in.
I know, it's so weird.
It's
Because he's not bad.
can he somersault?
No, sadly. I know. He should be able to.
Yeah, don't understand. He counts as having the
He
fly
flips.
keyword.
Yeah.
Flips over the terrain.
Exactly.
The Stim, thank you.
Hey.
The Stim's got an interesting lore question. He says, what happens if the Emperor gets up off his throne tomorrow? Conversely, what happens if everyone finds out he's been dead all along?
Yeah. So I'll give my no fun answer, but it's my real answer, and then we can have fun with it. Okay?
Okay.
So my real answer is I don't want that to ever happen, because that's like the whole thing about him is like he was all about logic and reason. You know, he abolished all forms of like religion ever. He's like science, logic, reason. And then the Horus Heresy is the story of this sort of change into being a highly religious society and him becoming the exact thing that he hates. And this whole question of is he alive, is he not alive, is he a god, is he not a god, is like to me one of the fundamental pillars of 40K that sounds like it'd be really cool for him to come alive. But for me, it would be a big, big bummer, because then it's like, now we know. So that's my honest answer. I know it's not fun.
It is fun. I mean, they lose a lot of flavor if that happens.
It's
the
true.
Imperium, that's what makes the Imperium
Yeah.
compelling.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that's like, there's no argument if they're like, oh, he's just dead, and the Chaos Marines are like, told ya, and they're just like, ah, you're right. Like, guess we won't fight anymore, you know? But I don't know.
So yeah, I'd kind of like, if he's dead, I feel like the kind of move and like Gilliman's thing is like he's going to be very upset, and like the church around him is like would suppress like life would go on, that they're like no one's going to ever be like the emperor is dead, and I feel like just poor Gilliman would kind of like have to sacrifice for sins to become essentially the new emperor, which is something he never wants, which I think was like
That's kinda cool,
would make
actually.
a really interesting tragic character.
Well, the other thing is like, I agree he wouldn't want to become the emperor, but that's not how most people would see it.
Yeah.
Like he's seizing power. We've already had the
They've already had that
Imperium
problem,
Secundus
but it's
thing,
like
right?
he's a
be
demigod,
cool.
like the last demigod.
Yeah.
If he got up and he was alive, I think he would be like, wait, like the heck is a Tau?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, there's even more Tyranids?
Right.
I think he would even be like, I did not sign up for this.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you, Drazzle.
What's up?
Did you guys see the new Imperial Fist Praetor models?
It
The
did?
30K ones.
Yeah.
Horus Heresy.
They were.
Oh,
We linked them in
yeah.
our chat not too long ago.
Yeah, they look sick.
I would love if I played Imperial Fist.
Yeah.
I would buy 5 of those Praetor models, and I would make them my Blade Guard squad, because they're just incredible
That's
looking.
pretty cool.
They're beautiful.
Are they going to be a little small, though?
They are a little small.
A little small.
You're a little small.
You can also you can put it on a Primaris spot. A lot of those bits will like size up, but it's pretty hunky. Or like
Yeah.
the ones with the shield and stuff, it's like a kind of Terminator, a little runty.
You
It's
can
fine.
give them little boxes to stand on.
Yeah. Thoughts on 40K Imperial Fist Termi Captain with Relic Blade and Storm Shield, Rights of War with Thunderhammer Termies on point, any units to make work?
Like with them? Because
Yes.
I think that's a great solid concept. I think the standard for me is still like, not to sound like a broken record, but you put Blade Guard, or honestly, even with, especially with Fist, you Terminators with Storm Shield, Thunderhammer, getting Rights of War up there, just being completely immovable. And of course, you can use the trench building strat, or even +1 save if you really need a clutch save for a turn. Just be completely immovable. It's very fisty, right?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tor Garradon.
Yeah.
And I think his ability to make a unit hit on 2s, really, because it's one of the few things that didn't get changed to core. So he can select anything. So I kind of like him better as a captain. But if you want your own custom one, it's not about it. Captain, Space Marine captains are the bread and butter. Every list should run a captain-like character. Like, there's not really a way to go wrong with building it.
It's tough to say no to Rights of War, though.
Rights of War it can go on so many characters, though.
Right, you say put it on something else.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's interesting.
But
That's a good point.
also just throwing on a captain, but yeah. It's hard is like, these named characters are all actually fantastic for any of these chapters. If you're playing pure like Imperial Fist, I don't know, you want something that shoots, even if it's a unit of 10 intercessors with stalker bolt rifles.
Right.
Making them hit on 2s is just like...
It's cool with the heavy intercessors too. You take the heavy options, and they don't take the penalty. It's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it overwrites them, because it just says they hit on 2s.
Basically, yeah.
Thank you, Broken Chef. Hey, Titans, I'm enjoying painting every day.
Yeah.
Good on you. Yeah. I know you have addressed it before, but which bikes are best under Ravenwing? Second HQ choice past the Chaplain.
Totally. Attack bikes.
Attack bikes, multi-melted attack bikes.
Yeah, that's the way to go for the majority of your force. Like, I think an ideal list
Honestly,
would be like 9 of them.
If you want to win by playing Space Marines, every morning you should wake up, make your toast, make some eggs, take an attack bike sprue, put it in your blender, and drink it with your meal, because it's just like that's how fantastic they are.
They're so great, and they're flexible, and they have that amazing ability to be, when they're in Devastator Doctrine, they can advance and shoot heavy weapons, aka multi-meltas, without penalty. I know he's not Ravenwing, but I do like Azrael for. Actually, no, Azrael is ideal because you get the invuln saves, but the thing I want from him in this case is the Warlord trait. Tactical Tactician, something like that.
Tactical Tactician.
Yeah, and you can pick a unit and put them back a doctrine. So you can keep a unit of attack bikes.
Well, you can have that on any captain. Or any
That's what I'm
character,
saying, yeah. It's a generic.
But Azrael's so good.
He's ideal. But so attack bikes as your main force. And then, honestly, I'm building up my Ravenwing right now. I don't have any Outriders to try. I'm going to first try regular bikes. They both get OBSEC. The regular bikes are cheaper. Outriders are probably still better. I don't know. I don't
What
know
about
fully
Scout Bikers? Do they get the Ravenwing keyboard?
Yeah, I just don't like
They're
them.
gross, but like they do still pack a lot of shooting.
I used to run a bunch of them because they were super efficient.
Yeah, I ran an Ultramarines list with 30 of them.
But I don't love them anymore. They hit them a lot. They got hit really hard.
They are. I think they're elites now. No, they've always been fast attack.
No, that's a good point. I don't think they get the Ravenwing OBSEC actually.
Talon Masters, which aren't bikes, but they're still just
all these things are have in
fantastic.
There. Yeah, 2 Talon Masters.
I'm really excited because I gave Adrian. Well, I didn't give Adrian. I need to go beat up a friend of mine. I gave my friend who was starting Ravenwing. I made a fantastic conversion of like.
It was Samuel at the time.
Samuel like riding on top of like a hood, ghost riding his bike
on like a land speeder, not a bike, a land speeder.
On a land speeder, and so.
Holding the
I gave it to a friend,
sword.
and I just found out that friend gave it to Adrian for his Ravenwing.
Well, the funny thing is, it was your model. You built it. You commissioned me to paint it.
Yep.
You gave up on the army.
Yep.
You gave it to our friend, who's like, oh, I have 3 Talon Masters. I don't need 3. Adrian want one? I was like, sure. I actually need a second Talon Master.
Because the one that I put my heart and soul into.
Everything comes back around until it ends up with me because I'm the great devourer, and the buck stops there. Let me tell you.
I've caught Adrian in my trash can stealing my sprues sometimes. He's like, you left on a couple of plasma pistols.
Yeah.
You might use these
You don't
one
want
day.
these? Are you full?
Poor Melanie's like crying because she just like has no room in her house because it's just filled with filled with bits boxes.
Thank you, Alexander A. Hey, Titans.
Hey.
Vect needs a new model, and you get to decide the new design.
My God.
What will the new model look like, and what rules does he have?
Yes.
Is he on foot, or is he riding something?
Oh, he's riding.
He's riding something.
He's pimped out ride, for sure.
My ideal is I love these dioramas.
Yes.
Of models, and so I would take the Tantalus model and Vex on it, but he's throwing a soiree.
Yes.
Like he's literally having a party. He's out hunting for fun. God, terrible book because most Space Wolves books are terrible.
Yeah.
But the Lucas the Trickster, they had the Duke Sliskin was the character that was like, I need to throw a grand party. Let's entertaining my guests. Let's go hunt Space Wolves.
Oh my God.
He's the guy that ripped out Lucas the Trickster's heart.
Oh.
And God, it was such a that idea of that kind of dandy boy feel of Dark Eldar is what I love, and so that's what I imagine Vect would be opulent. He'd have his whole bodyguard squad, so you get the full retinue would be just on there
on some kind of barge.
On the barge, the Tantalus. It's just huge, and
you could do you could give him rules the new gluttonous dude from the Slanesh Battle Tome, who also kind of has a barge party.
Yeah.
And that model, the way he works is he has a progressive buff aura that changes as they go through each portion of the meal. So he starts with the entree that gives a buff, and then they go to the main course that gives a buff.
Oh, I love when they do stuff
and
like that.
And you could do that, he's having his party. You could be as you're flying around, this turn you get to, double the combat drugs on this squad, or give out this other thing as you're
party
going through.
favors.
Yeah.
My main thing is, it just seems like they're
sick.
going to have a big party, and it should be on a big vehicle.
Yeah.
And
You'd have to have some like Trixie Vec thing too.
it'd be it'd play
I don't know what it'd
like, God, Sigmar has some really great rules on it. It'd be like the general for the Bone Daddies.
Yeah, what does he do?
And so it's, as he loses wounds, it's like you're killing his attendants until you eventually get to fight him. So it's like he doesn't step in. So like he doesn't use his main weapon until you get down to a same.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's almost like you have to do a boss fight and kill his attendants first till you
fascinating.
eventually get to him, and then he becomes like a beat stick.
That's really cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do great fun rules with Sigmar.
So great. Yeah.
Thank you, James Johns. Hello, Titans. New Titan Premium member here.
Oh, welcome.
With
Congratulations,
emphasis-
your life just got better.
With emphasis on objective secured in 9th edition, how viable would 100 double objective secure Necron warriors be?
Highly.
You'd win every game.
I think,
Guaranteed.
And there's you need things to support them, like the Chronomancers, the Cataclysm Command Barges, like some cheap units as well, because that's still important. But 80 to 100, it's real good.
The question is, do you want to be that person?
Yes, you do.
Can you look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I'm happy with the life choices I made by having 100 Necron warriors?
Well, when you get countered that way, you get countered hard.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
If you've got 100 Necron warriors and someone can get through that.
Someone's bringing 10 Punisher cannons.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Thank you, Jacob Roman. Hey guys, my buddy and I are huge fans. Started watching because of seeing the Sons of Dorn.
Ah,
When can I see them again on the channel? Also, go White Scars. Sorry about that last part, Jacob.
Sons
But
of Dorn.
I failed, Jacob.
when are
I'm
we gonna
sorry.
see? When are we gonna see Imperial Fists?
We should
again?
have them on real soon, honestly. Real soon.
I think
That's a good point.
no one agrees with me, but I think Imperial Fists are going to be the Marines that kind of bring the Marines back against the Dark Eldar. I think
You're not alone in that thought.
I'm the only person. You've heard it here first. There's the sole proprietor that brought this. Is here, but I think Imperial Fists definitely have some merit. I just played against my buddy that ran an Imperial Fist list against this White Scar list you saw today, and he just bodied me
It was Nick.
hard. It was Nick, yeah. Papa Nick, hate him. Terrible person.
I don't disagree that they have some interesting tools against Drukhari, but you have to play
Suppressors.
the rest of the game and you have to play the rest of your matchups.
Yeah. Well, they still do well with a bunch of heavy bolters that explode.
Yeah. I love them. I love them dearly.
Do you?
I do.
Is that why you're painting up another Marine army?
I've been hurt before, because I have my army that's for fun, and then I have my army that will win games.
Yep.
We will definitely have them on the channel soon, for sure. That's a good point. It's been a while.
Thank you, Evil Morty. Q&A for Custodes. Custodes idea. Give melee weapons a cleave profile to choose. Attacks 1 less AP, straight 1 damage to help, more ×3 attacks.
Right.
We see this with We see this with monsters, right?
Totally.
To help against horde type armies. -1 to all incoming damage. Ages of EMP, not phase restricted.
Ages what? EMP. Ages of the Emperor? Oh.
Oh, so just a feel no pain across the board.
Oh, nice. That's cool. -1 damage, maybe a bit much.
It's a little, yeah.
I like the cleave though. I wouldn't do ×3. I would do ×2 because you can't.
I do like that idea. My always favorite idea for fixing kind of them is I really like the feeling of exploding 6s. That just have natively that they should have a 6-up feel no pain that's just across the board.
Right.
And then a 6-up exploding
That's
on
cool.
all the guys because, it makes games sweet. Sometimes you generate 3 extra hits and it's you're having this momentary hero. When you play Custodes, it should just feel epic.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's funny, we've seen that ability on the Dreadhost has it for the Warlord trait, and we love it.
I
on the
use it
channel.
so much.
Oh
That's the
my
main
gosh.
reason I go Dreadhost is for that Warlord trait.
It's really good. So
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
You can get a lot of value. A lot of times sometimes I'll play a Marine instead of White Scars. I'll play them as having exploding 6s.
You'll do Successor.
A successor trait because it's almost like the math works out. You're having a captain nearby, but if your captain is nearby, you just get more value out of it.
More effective.
Yeah, it's a very fun mechanic, but definitely they do need some help dealing with a lot of hordes, and cleave could be good. It gets weird when you have a lot of units with cleave.
Yeah, you have to be careful in the design space to not just be like, well, we can fight anything. And you're like, cool. Well, then there's no matchups that matter or units on units. But again, I think custodians should be a bit more flexible than most armies. So
Stratagem maybe, or one weapon per squad that can do that.
Oh yeah,
something like
that could be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know about. I like them all kind of having the same layout because it's just like
It's easy.
yeah.
Thank you, Ernie. Hey Titans, finally get to actually watch you guys live instead of just listening to you guys while at work. Great content, love it all. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thanks, Ernie. Yeah.
And thanks for your support.
Try my best.
Thank you, Martin. Adrian, I was wondering if you could take a moment to discuss how much you've enjoyed Dark Angels and how much Bridger would learn if you played them against Custodes. We all want the best for Bridger, after all.
Is this still like pre-submitted Martin stuff?
No, this happened. No, he came
Bridger,
during
Is
the
there a
game.
tragic backstory did I miss that like Bridger was too loud and kept Martin up all night, so like he couldn't he slept in and missed his job
It's
opportunity.
picked up a lot recently, like the past.
Yeah.
So
weeks.
Martin,
He's really
Martin
gone.
has returned, which is nice. Martin,
Let's talk about his feelings, Martin. Let's get really. What happened between you and Bridger?
Martin is a great guy. That's a great supporter of the channel. He sent us this, and the Dark Angels mask. He just keeps trolling. Like he spends so much time and money trolling Bridger.
That's beautiful.
This is
I
all
like
for
that.
Bridger.
Yeah, I
all
like
about
that.
Dark Angels.
Hurting Bridger is great.
And so, it's funny. So Martin is like a semi-reoccurring character, and so I'm gonna answer your question. I don't know, Martin. I have been loving them. They've been awesome, and I'm excited to expand into Ravenwing. That way, I can play a full Ravenwing force, but I can also play more of a mixed wing force.
Go all Green Wing. Do it,
That's
you
the thing.
coward.
Oh my gosh! Last couple weeks, I had so many questions about Green Wing. How do you make them work? I will eventually do more Green Wing. That'll be the third part, but it's like whatever's left over, you know. So
That's it. Their Green Wing is decent enough. It's just everything else is so fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know how you look at like a Deathwing Terminator and you're just like, first of all, that's all I've wanted in my life. Like
I know.
ever since I was like a little kid, I'm like, I want to grow up to be a Deathwing Terminator. But
It's true. That's what my mama told me.
yeah.
There is one amazing Green Wing unit that you should never leave home without.
Suppressors.
attack light.
That's Ravenwing. Oh. That's wrong.
Suppressors, they're going to be great.
Plasma Inceptors, guys.
Oh,
They don't fit in either of the two.
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh, you think Inceptors are good. Imagine they're 3 damage Inceptors. Oof.
Oh, I felt it.
That's right, you
Against,
fought them, yeah.
Like Michael, and it was just like, oh, all my army is defeated, and he just split fired them.
Yeah.
Or not even having to overcharge. So you're
Right.
just like, yeah.
No, I'm very excited, and a certain Cobra Commander may have just sent me some more attack bikes and Nephilim.
Cobra
Inceptor.
Commander.
Cobra Commander. My man.
thank you,
You
Peter.
know he's the bad guy, right?
Thank you, Peter W. Hey Titans, enjoying the content and just subscribed.
Welcome.
Thinking about getting into the hobby again. My last game was a while ago in 2nd edition. Remember Cybots?
Yes.
Cheers from Germany. Keep it up.
What's up, man?
Cybots.
That's amazing.
I don't even know.
There's so much weird stuff from even 3rd edition, 4th edition when it started to become like more standardized. Remember when Eldar had chainmail? First of all.
It wasn't very effective against bullets.
Yeah. Remember when you could give a Eldar a bolt gun? Anyways, you should totally get back in the hobby. It's a great time. The game is it's more active than ever. The community is active, obviously, you know. James, Mr. Workshop, is more active than ever, and it's just a lot of fun. It's too much
great.
fun.
Yeah.
lot
You
of
can't get
good-
away from it. It's so much fun. And
Yeah, once you start, you can't stop.
Cost to entry has gone down too, I think.
I think the cost of entry has definitely dropped.
there are definitely a lot of ways you can. Secondhand is a fantastic way
Yeah.
to get into it. That you can get full armies for like not that much. It's like crazy.
Yeah, and these new box sets have also helped with that too. You look on eBay for even in like Indominus stuff now that things have calmed down a bit. But yeah, absolutely.
Best time to shop is after an army gets nerfed.
I cannot wait to buy a bunch of Drukhari.
Yeah.
Not saying I know anything's coming, but I'm just after the wave of Drukhari players are done, then I'm ready to.
Marine
pick off
armies
what's
are going
left.
for super cheap right now.
Yeah, exactly. Probably good time to get
Yeah.
like Dark Angels and stuff, you know.
Thank you again, Martin. Adrian, I just want to say how amazing your influence has been on the show,
Oh, thank
and
you.
also appreciate how much you have done to progress Bridger as a Titan.
Thank you so much. He's
know-
he's a good guy and he's learning, right?
all jokes aside, people are digging the Adrian Bridger dynamic
It's
on
been
on the
fun.
stream. Yeah,
We have a good vibe, and that's good.
yeah. Thank you, Super Reedy. I see people being fussy about Shane's pronouncing inceptors. So here's some cash money to hear him say inceptorcessors.
Intreptor chapters.
That's
So-
amazing.
I never learned how to read.
This joke.
That's amazing.
So the fact that I'm able to get like the words about like 90% correct
Yeah.
without knowing the English alphabet is like fantastic.
I'm pretty impressed. Like you can't read, but you can speak decently
That
well.
was one of the greatest and worst things is when I was living with Jeff was that
Oh my god.
he hammered it in to anyone he met that about telling people I couldn't read.
Yeah.
Like we'd go out to eat, he'd be like, they'd try to hand me a menu and he'd be like, no, he doesn't need it, he can't read that. It'd be like,
Just like totally straight faced, and then waitress was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
I came home and he's like, oh, there's a package for you. And I opened it up and it was hooked on phonics. I'm like, I don't think they've made those in like 10 years. I'm like, what it is? He's like, I care about your well-being and your development. What a great guy. Miss him a lot.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So I think he's convinced me, like he's gaslighting me that I kind of forget how to read.
Yeah. No, I think you had said interceptors a couple times.
They don't intercept? That's their job. That's
It's
what
a
I'm
good
hoping.
I don't know, how does that not already exist? Interceptor.
Yeah.
Come on, James. That's the next.
What is
probably
it?
just spoil their next release or something.
Inceptor or
It's Inceptor.
like Inception? Like they're trying to put dreams
Yeah,
inside your
no. So we
thoughts?
looked it up at one point, right? To incept something is like to intercede in a way. I forget something. Look it up. There's a reason they picked it.
All their names are dumb.
They picked it because it sounds similar to
Yeah,
everything
they're
else,
all
and
the
it's a pain to
same.
pronounce. So
Thank you, Blake Allman. I love watching White Scar Successors. I played a White Scar Successor 2, Iron Talons. Shane, who is your favorite Parks and Rec character, and where did you get your shirt from?
My girlfriend actually bought this for me, and God, I'm in love with Rashida Jones, and I know my girlfriend's watching right now, but she knows and understands. But as I kind of pointed out, is like I've never felt like more connected with a character from fiction than Ben Wyatt. His mannerisms, his like way he gets like upset and very factual about things like Lord of the Rings and nerd stuff is like that's pretty much how I live my life.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam. I'm making Dante out of Sigvald prosecutor wings.
Yes.
Any ideas for an axe his size to use, magnetizing an optional 25mm base for when people care?
That's good. That's a kind thing to do.
Sigvald?
So he's the new Slanesh character, the fabulous one. That's a great. We had that, and we discussed this the other day. He's a great thing winner base. So I know
Yeah.
I'm glad Bridger's not here, because Custodes axes are kind of big and ornate.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the right scale.
I really like the double-headed axe that comes in the Signary Guard kit. It's a really good kind of Dante, but I don't know if it's really like the size.
I'd have to see it because you might be able to take just the head of it and extend the haft,
Yeah.
right? Probably use it.
Something like that.
That's a good point.
I think Sigmarines also like really have a lot of good crossover.
Yeah, their characters. It's funny, like
Yeah.
some of the hammers dudes. I've like used their hammers as thunder hammers, and they're actually really small.
Yeah.
But the characters' weapons are huge, so they must have an
Yeah.
axe character, no? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
I think these are all good options.
Just flex on people. Just buy the Lehman Russ model from Forge World and cut off the axe that he has there and use that.
That is a great axe.
Yeah,
This
just
is
use
true.
that and be like, cry tears, Space Wolves players.
I like it.
Blood Angel superiority.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Ernie. Ernie says, here, bro, here's some money for beer. Actually, people, this is for you, of course. Shane, people were like, this guy needs a drink.
Yeah, that's a drink. They're going out after this?
Yeah.
Probably at this point.
Yeah.
And thank you, Martin. Adrian, I see that the voting for Tuesday's game has been closed. Can we reopen voting for 24 hours to give Custodes a chance? Hashtag save Bridger.
Save Bridger. Yeah, let me check this vote. So once again, if you guys weren't here for the live game,
Yeah, who won? Who's next?
Well, apparently Smash Bros. But let's take a look. So I'm gonna pull it up. This is in our premium voting section of the Discord.
Oh, just run Trajan and Constantine for Smash Bros.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Oh, Martin, the Custodes wasn't even close.
There's one vote.
It's just you 10 times. So this is
Who's Martine?
Tuesday's game. It was 738 votes for Smash Bros. 435 votes for Drakari. Bridger put this in wrong. I said Nixed Eldari, not Drakari, but whatever. And then Custodes got only 165 votes, and they're literally all Martin.
Speaking of Smash Bros, who's your guys' go-to in Smash Bros?
In Smash, I just play Pikachu, man. That's where I'm at.
Child.
I am a child. I don't know.
How
that
about you,
game.
Zach?
Oh boy, this comes up every now and then. I actually don't play video games, so
Like ever?
I really don't play a lot of video games.
Wow.
That's good.
It's true. He did not know how to right-click on a PC.
I don't really use PCs until recently. Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna give a really nerdy answer why I don't play video games.
Let's hear it.
I watch a lot of TV and listen to a lot of podcasts. I can do that with my wife, and I can paint while I do that. So
yeah.
I paint a lot. My output's high, make a lot of terrain.
Yeah, you do.
If you sit there and play video games, it's
it's very.
I miss it. I wish I did though.
You see, it's just like reality is painful, so I want to get away from that.
Yeah, I don't know. I get that.
Not so for you?
I should play more. I actually actively will say to Megan, I'll be like, Meg, I need to play more video games.
Yeah.
Like no one ever says that.
Damn it. Yeah.
I really
Just-
gotta
I'm
get
so
around to it.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's a good point,
Yeah.
though. That's where I get a lot of my hobby time is like watching TV with my wife, right? Because it's like I can't sit still. You get to do
I
something.
can't sit still.
Yeah, exactly. And you get to like be with them at the same time.
Yeah.
So I feel you.
yeah, I've been trying to get Adrian to play games with me, just won't.
Yeah, but you got your girlfriend to play games with you. So
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Bullying works.
Yeah.
Here's a great question. It's Ernie again. Thanks again, Ernie.
What's up, Ernie?
If you guys could create a new Tyranid model or unit, what would it be and what would it do?
Oh gosh.
As you guys think, because I've seen this for a second, I just want to say, Ernie, like for me, Tyranids are maybe the #1 army where I want to see what they already have do a little better first. Especially warriors. Like I want to see warriors dope first. I can't even process a new unit.
I want to see Harrispecs do stuff. I want to see what's the big old licky guy?
Toxicrane?
Toxicrane.
Trigons,
Well, that too.
Trigon
Yeah.
Primes.
Molochs.
All of these units need to
Such
just be
amazing
better
models.
first.
That's true. Let's see.
I want they have it, this is the Tyranid. I want like a cat bus, but like for Tyranids, where it's like the little Tyranids get inside, it's like a transport.
Biotitan.
Yeah, but God, what did they...
I mean, the cheating answer for me is always still the Dominatrix. We still need to see that model.
I would like a Dominatrix just in general.
Yeah, that's right.
For Warhammer.
For Warhammer. So that's usually my I would love to see that big, a big plastic kit of the Dominatrix would be really sick. But Tyranids is such a ridiculous design space. You can do amazing things. I'd love to see also a resculpt of old One Eye. Make him just a baller, what's a
Swarmlord too.
Swarmlord 2. That's
Big-
true.
big
Swarmlord
plastic
needs to be
Swarmlord.
the big centerpiece model. It just needs to be you come down and you're like, I'm scared of that monster.
Yeah, talk about Supreme Commanders. He should
Yeah.
be the Supreme Commander.
Should be huge.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, literally,
Yeah.
Morty.
He should be the Supreme
Magnus
Commander.
size, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Should be there,
Massive.
yeah.
just scarred, and this guy is the veteran of 100 battles, reborn 1,000 times.
Yeah, I agree.
It's even his name, Swarmlord, is it doesn't have the uniqueness. There's only one Swarmlord per swarm.
Right. So he's unique, but not.
Yeah.
Thank you, Better Wargaming every day.
What's up?
The new Bellicor model is a beautiful sculpt and quite pricey, so I'm highly disappointed that the seam lines are so bad on his sides. Poor work by GW.
Yeah, they're pretty rough for sure. Yeah, I feel you.
I haven't even seen one in person yet. So.
You know,
I just want the rules for him.
there's a solution to this. You buy from Games Workshop their mold line remover. Have you used that tool?
I never have. Is it good?
It's really good.
It's so good.
I
and
don't
it's
remove my
so
mold
weird.
lines.
It shouldn't be that good. And they, everyone says their hobby tools are overpriced. And
yeah.
usually I don't get their brand, but
Yeah.
people have been blabbing about it. I picked it up and I was like, now I see why.
and it's not sharp either. It's really weird. It's
So
really good.
strange.
And it's big because you want to often, for control, cut
Right.
towards yourself. And when you're doing that with an X-Acto knife,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't. No,
then
no,
you
no.
go make you work with lemon in the kitchen. You're like, this thing is just amazing.
That's wild.
So that's why Better Gaming Every Day, because Better War Gaming Every Day, Better Gaming Every Day, because they want you to buy that thing,
Yeah.
which I recommend.
Wow, really turned that around on me.
Yeah,
Didn't you?
yeah.
Good old capitalism.
Thank you, Forrest Gray.
What's up?
What are your thoughts on Raven Guard in the current meta? Any must includes?
must includes.
Ooh.
They are another chapter that's great with Vanguard vets. I still think like the pregame move, putting one unit, not pregame move, but the redeploy Warlord strat. We saw Nick use it. I think is so powerful and so good. And I think my go-to would be Vanguard vets with a Storm Shield and Lightning Claw. Honestly, I know Nick ran the
Thunderhammers, but I think that's very old school. That Lightning
they
Claws are
in
just
that game too.
They're pretty cheap too. 140 points for 5 of them. 10 wounds. It's just like it's just a super good unit. I would bring them.
Yeah.
I do like most cases. I don't like people don't like them, but the Eliminators. If you get to those turns 2 and 3 where you have your super doctrine going on, your opponent actually has to really care about where he's putting his characters, and killing a character at the right time it flips the game.
That's a good
So
point.
it's cool and
I think Raven Guard, I don't know if you want to or not, but they're also a great successor chapter because they have amazing strats and like kind of chapter tactics. Like you could go melee heavy. You know, we're talking about like exploding 6s and stuff like that. And do like, I always forget these guys. The alternatives to the infiltrators are
incursors.
Incursors kind of playing up because the strength of the Raven Guard is really their
being
strats.
quick.
Yeah. So. The Relic Sniper is legitimately great. Ignoring line of sight is great. Like I know we're usually, like you said, reticent to say like take snipers, but like a sniper that ignores line of sight,
And it's not insane, but multi-melted attack spikes.
That's true. You can never go wrong.
You'll run into characters like monstrous creatures and stuff that are
right.
Like I'm not even like trying to be like it's just like no, that's another unit that just like
Mortarion.
You fly up and then all of a sudden you're getting +1 to hit and wound against like Mortarion with multi-meltas. You're gonna just cut right through them.
That's interesting.
And no one really thinks bikes for Raven Guard, but being able to get to where you can kill those characters, things like tank commanders, there's things that just get the character word slapped on them. It's just
right. Yeah, and they're cool because you can also you can use all the pregame movement to get them up in position. Especially we're talking about everyone wants to know how to fight Drukhari, and the question is like you have to be able to crack the raiders, get the stuff inside. And you have to be able to get around to see them because they can play the obscuring game. Like it's not the firepower that we're lacking; it's the mobility combined with the firepower. With attack bikes on Raven Guard or any kind of even to a lesser extent Eradicators, being able to pregame move, get up and around and shoot, and then maybe charge with incursors. That's great.
And the other last one was like the turrets. If you want to go crazy,
you're just describing Nick's list now.
Yeah,
I like it. I mean, I feel like what.
They're cute in his list, but I don't know. I don't.
It depends on the table. It can just be devastating.
Yeah, if you have no terrain, they're devastating.
Yeah. Speaking of attack bikes, thank you for TL45. Hey, how would you guys go about converting a more up-to-date version of the attack bike? I like the rules, but the proportions infuriate me.
So we have a policy on this channel where we really believe in print bits, not models. But I'm not going to break that rule right now. I'm just going to bend it a little bit. I've seen some really cool kits for converting Outriders to attack bikes. And it's an Outrider scale little sidecar. And you attach it onto your Outrider. And it looks great.
That's awesome, yeah.
It looks cool. And you're still supporting Games Workshop. It's not like I'm like, just buy that one sidecar and use that, right?
Yeah.
But that'll scale it up, and it's not going to confuse anyone. They're not going to be like, well, is that an Outrider attack bike? Like, nobody's going to think that. So that's something I would do. Look at ways of primarifying them in a way. Like if you,
I mean, the attack bike idea is it's a firstborn in there currently, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I would look at that. Look at ways of even getting some Outriders and kind of bashing them into more updated versions. You can also kind of just put stuff on them. Mine are gonna have lots of scrolls and Dark Angel wings on the back. That kind of makes them feel bulkier because they're a little goofy.
Small. Yeah.
They're kind of goofy.
Thank you, Freestealer. These
nailed it.
Yep.
First try.
Fire Stealer?
Yeah.
Freestaller.
Thank you, Freestaller. Yeah. Yes.
Hooked on fire.
I had 20 minutes to look at that, and I just. Hey Titans, love your content. I'm building an Imperial Fists army.
Nice.
Would you recommend 5 groups of 3 heavy intercessors, or 3 groups of 5 heavy intercessors, or 3 groups of 10 normal intercessors for maybe infiltrators, or maybe infiltrators and cursors? Thanks.
That's a great question.
That's a good question. I think 1 or 2 heavy intercessors is like the way to go. Or I don't like going too heavy. They are very expensive for just basic troops, and things that are really good at killing Marines still do a pretty good number on them. I like 1 or 2 for holding like your usual safe objective. That you have that, no one's going to really push them off.
I totally agree.
Unless if they go hard into them. I think you get so much flexibility out of the regular intercessors. Being able to shoot twice with them really makes them like hurt.
Yeah.
Especially with Imperial Fist. You take those 10, then you give them the stratagem that they get double exploding 6s. Like you just get more bang for your buck for going bigger models.
I totally agree.
Yeah. The only thing you have to be careful of is blast.
Well, that's why you take them as squads of 10 and you just combat squad in the game.
If you're against something. Yep.
You know, I like them as those big squads. I do also love the infiltrators, but I understand there's a limit on points. Like personally, I would say unit of 5 heavy infiltrators, 2 units of 10 regular
Infiltrators or intercessors?
Sorry, big unit of heavy intercessor. Sorry. Erase, go back. In the back, you have a unit of 5 heavy intercessors. They're like just like you're saying. 2 blocks of 10 regular intercessors, just like you're saying, and 2 units of 5 infiltrators.
Infiltrators, yeah.
They're so good, man. They're so good.
It's really good. They're just pricey is my only thing.
They're not that pricey.
They're 120.
115, yeah.
120.
Are we worried about Blast Min 3? How worried about Blast Min 3 are you?
No, not really.
Yeah, squads.
There's very few weapons.
Min 6s.
It's not
6 is
for
bad.
the things that you're thinking of. It's like the plasma inceptors that are out there, that the D3 weapons.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Things that can pack a lot of D3 or 2D3 things that...
It's only for that. When you see inceptors across the board, you combat squad. Because normally, you're right, it doesn't matter. It's only certain things. It's inceptors, and it's mech guns. So those things that, like, for some reason, they're like, yeah, we're blast with D3, and like each gun is a separate instantiation of D3. Like that's messed up. That should not be. So
makes sense. Got it.
Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy. Hello, Titans. Really enjoying your content. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Just to check, it appears you play Lightning Claws at 2 damage. Is there a way to get them up there, or is that a boo-boo?
That is White Scars only when they are in their Super Doctrine on the turn that they charge, that the White Scars Super Doctrine gets them +1 damage.
Yep. Nailed it. It's really good.
It's really good. It's what makes them, like, they're already a really efficient, fantastic weapon that I would take them in so many different other colors of Space Marines. But, like, White Scars, it's just insane. And like I said, I generally will spend the CP to give the Sergeant in the squad Mastercrafted, so you can have those 3 damage Lightning Claws and just...
So good. And they're what, 5 attacks on the charge?
4 attacks on the charge, but yeah.
There's
so many...
Aren't they 2 base?
2 base, +1 for...
Charging? Oh, because you have a single Lightning Claw. Yeah.
There's not been... I don't think there's a bonus for taking 2.
There is actually now. The way it's worded, it's every Lightning Claw gets +1.
Okay. So, yeah, I like the Storm Shield because I like them resilient and not having to worry about AP.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Better.
Gentlemen, we did it.
We done did it.
Yeah.
All right.
What?
Well,
We did it?
we got through the questions.
Oh, okay.
You're like, what
There's
happened
not
then?
more? Yeah.
Shocking.
I can keep going.
Yeah, I know. Oh, trust me, some days. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of The Good Talk. I also want to thank Shane for coming on and playing with me today. It's
It was
always fun.
fantastic. Yeah, I was really excited to play. I wish I would have done better, but you know what? There's always next time.
As always, next time, it's definitely not a game I'd be embarrassed about. Like, losses happen. Loss happened by a bunch of points. There's a couple of key swings, which we talked about, and I think that's where it's at. It wasn't like you showed up and you just blew off table turn 1.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a game.
The dice almost made it a comedy reel.
Oh, it was a
my
tragedy.
gosh.
Yeah.
You have to be
It's
prepared.
Shakespearean.
Yeah, there's going to be memes, man. You prepared for that?
No, I'm not.
Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us. We have another members-only game on next Tuesday, plus special extra streams next week. Keep your eyes out. We're going to be posting some information about that very, very soon. Once again, thank you for joining us. Have a great one. We'll catch you next time on the Tabletop. Bye!